Next question, Josh, you'll be first on this one. If you are elected, what will be the first major issue you plan on addressing?
Without a doubt, the first thing that we're going to address is the future of Samaritan. I'm anxious for that study to come. This is a big issue for Washington County. And I want to pull people from Washington County in to help make the decision. I'm going to follow the model that Mayor Sadoniko set here at West Bend when he came into office. We're going to establish a task force of the brightest minds in Washington County. And we're going to sit down together, we're going to figure this out. You know, I've had conversations with nursing home administrators in the private sector across Washington County. They know as well as we know that this is a major issue. Medicaid funds at under 50 cents on the dollar. 75 to 85% of our residents at Samaritan are Medicaid patients. What happens if Medicaid, which by the way, if you read the studies from this CMS, Center of Medicaid and Medicare Services, by 2030 or 2035, we don't even know if that program is going to be able to be funded anymore. We have a social responsibility to these folks. And on day one, we're going to tackle that issue. Just like every other issue that we've tackled in the last 6.5 years, we're going to be very honest with the people of Washington County on what the problems actually are, what solutions are doable, and what we need to do together to love our neighbor and care for those folks. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Adam?
Thanks. Well, I've already said it, day one, we eliminate the Park Street. I think that's pretty easy, right? Josh mentioned the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty and how there's a lawsuit in Brown County on the sales tax. Well, it's a frivolous lawsuit. And you also mentioned our former Mayor Sadoniko. You know, the great thing about working at the city of West Bend is that I got to work under Mayor Sadoniko and see what he was able to do. And that sales tax is your money. And as I watched what Mayor Sadoniko did for the city of West Bend, he also said, we stand up for what's right and our money, and that was in the form of the dark store legislation. He didn't back down from those that were suing the city of West Bend, the ones that it took us to court. He said, no, we're gonna be the ones that are gonna put up the fight for this thing. And it's your money we're fighting for. It's your money we're fighting to give back to you in the form of the sales tax. And if I've learned anything, it's your money's worth fighting for, and I'm not gonna wait to see what happens in Brown County. They can come, fine, but I would think they'd wanna get their hands on the slush fund and talk about going to court over that, and then well before sharing the sales tax with the municipality.
Thank you. Next question. Adam, you'll be first this time. County roads, particularly Highway 45, have deteriorated. What will you do to fix the problems?
Well, I'll tell you one thing I won't do, and that's try to push up all the roads on our towns. That's one thing that the county's been doing. They've been pushing the roads up on all the towns. And yeah, and they're giving them a stack of cash with it. And while that looks nice for them and they're taking those, and they think that's gonna be fine in the moment, well, we need to be able to look further than 5, 10, 20 years down the road and know that that stack of cash isn't gonna be sufficient over time. And then they're gonna be put in a tough spot. We're gonna work together with everyone in fixing up those roads. And we're not gonna push it off on somebody else. It's gonna be our responsibility.
Josh?
Thank you. One of the things that I'm most proud of over the last 6.5 years is the solution that we've created for road funding in Washington County. State highways are managed by the state. Interstates are managed at the federal level through the state. The county maintains all the state highways and plows the state highways and interstates, but we're not responsible for maintaining them in terms of resurfacing and reconstruction. The county highways we are. While local governments across the state of Wisconsin are complaining about not having enough revenue, and if you remember the commercials back in 2018 about Scott holes, whining about not being able to fund them. We in Washington County decided we were gonna do something about it, because we heard the same thing. And so we built a plan, and I give credit first and foremost to Scott Schmidt and Josh Glass, who did the majority of the work. We inventoried every single road across Washington County. And then we identified from now until 2050, how much money would it take to do every type of maintenance and repair possible to fix those roads. And then we funded it 100% without raising taxes. The slush fund Myaporn talks about funds those roads 100%. And we borrowed. Borrowing is not a bad thing when you're reconstructing a road. We don't borrow for maintenance like some places, but to reconstruct, we did. And we borrowed without raising taxes. Again and again, we modeled the way on how to run conservative government and still do the small stuff well. One of the things I would like to do as Door County executive is take that model and work with local governments across Washington County to replicate it over and over again. Not a giveaway.
Thanks, Josh.
But to work together.
Thank you. Last question. Josh, you'll be first again on this one. New this year, the county executive is an elected position. In your opinion, how does this change help improve things for county residents, and how might it hurt county residents?
Great question. Been struggling with it for a year. And the county board did as well, tying one vote and the next vote passing it by one vote. There's certainly strengths and weaknesses to the form of government. And one of the key strengths that I have learned, and probably underappreciated through the debate, was that as county executive, knocking 1,700 doors and ultimately on our way to 10 or 15,000, you hear firsthand from people what their expectations are, where the strengths are and where the weaknesses are. I told the county board last year at my State of the County address that it was up to them on what the form of government was. But what was most important is that they start focusing on the people. And it's why it's one of my key tenets of my campaign. What has been lost over the course of the last several years is that people are not engaged in the discussion. That's the job of an elected official. And as an elected county executive, my focus will be always on the people, making sure that we're going to events and knocking on doors and having discussions at kitchen tables. Just like I did during the conversation the county board recently had about the annexation of the Washington County Golf Course. At the end of that process, I didn't think it was the time to do that annexation. The board disagreed with me. The reason I didn't think it was time is because I sat with people who live next to that course, and I talked to them in their living rooms and at their kitchen tables, and heard firsthand from them what their thoughts were. Not that they were completely opposed to annexation, they just didn't want to see it right now. There was no strong reason for it, there was no strong reason against it. The only way to get good advice is to talk to the people.
Thank you.
That's why I'll focus on the people as county executive.
Adam?
Well, I think one of the biggest strength of this all is that yes, you do answer to the people. You're working for the people as it is an elected position. As the administrator, they serve at the will of the board, and the board sets the vision. But yes, the strength here is that we have our county executive answering to you. My opponent just talked about the job of an elected official. And yes, the job of an elected official is to ask what the people want. Recently, DQ Osmond Village Board, they were gonna ask the people, do you wanna share the sales tax? It was an advisory referendum. They weren't going, it is non-binding, but they were just gonna ask them, do you want to share the sales tax? And you had county supervisors showing up to that meeting and getting them to stop that vote, or getting them to stop that discussion. They took the discussion offline, they brought it back, and they scared the village board into not even taking that up as a subject, or as not voting to bring that up. As an elected official, you have a responsibility to listen to the people, and we shouldn't be stifling the people's voice by scaring off other village boards and city councils, saying, no, we don't care what your people have to say. We do care what your people have to say. They're the most important voice, and that's the role of an elected official.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we're ready for our closing remarks, and Adam, you'll be first.
Well, we're in a really unique position. Yes, we're gonna make history, right? We're gonna elect our first county executive. It's not lost on me that I'm sitting up here and how special this moment really is. When you go to the polls April 7th, you'll see me at the top of the ballot, and it's gonna say Adam J. Gitter. That J stands for Joseph. That's my father's name. He taught me my conservative values. Growing up in a conservative home, we talked about politics, religion at the dinner table, and it was important to be informed. I'm taking what he taught me, and I'm bringing it to this position. Honesty, integrity, respect, those are my core values, and that's what I learned in my home. And conservatism, it's accountability. These are your dollars, and we're gonna pay attention, and you're gonna know what your dollar did for you every single day. So, yes, this is a very special moment that we're in, and I'm in a very special position right now to be able to say thank you to my father. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Josh?
Thank you again all for coming out tonight. Thank you for those who are watching. Thank you for the Chamber and the City of West Bend for hosting this. Tonight, I think you heard two starkly different visions of what the future are going to look like for our county. My opponent is running a campaign of undoing the conservative reforms that we have implemented over the past 6 years. A path that will undoubtedly lead to more debt, higher taxes, and weaker services. In contrast, if I'm your county executive, I will begin to lay out my vision for how we build off of these strong conservative reforms to create a small and effective county government, which creates an environment for you to achieve prosperity, and then county government gets out of your way and allows you to enjoy it. When I was in Iraq in 2003, I saw what it's like when government's priorities aren't the people's priorities. How people live when government can't do the small stuff well. How lucky we are to live in Washington County, Wisconsin, USA. As your county executive, I pledge that no one will work harder than me to make sure that we do the small stuff extremely well. And then we'll get out of your way so that you can enjoy that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that we talked about in the Declaration of Independence so many years ago. If you believe in the things that we've said, if you see an era of county government in Washington County with smaller government, lower taxes, and yet quality services focused on public safety, transportation, senior care, and mental health, then join us. Go to joshholman.com and sign up to volunteer or donate today. Thank you for your time. God bless you, and God bless Washington County.
Thank you, gentlemen. This does conclude our forum tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for their patience tonight. It's certainly been a long but interesting and educational, informative evening. I'd like to thank John Elke and Tom Stoff of West Bend Community Television and the City of West Bend for their assistance in making this event possible.